Chapter 25. Pacing made things worse. Instead of easing the passage of time, it dragged it like a weighing anchor. Sebastian was on the brink of madness. He refrained from pulling his hair out and simply combed his fingers through thick strands of it, pulling his heavy, wavy bangs out his eyes. "Odin, where the hell are you?" he said to himself right before he heard more footsteps approaching. He moved in closer, hoping it was his brother, but instead it was yet another student waiting to use the washroom. He'd left the door locked, so it couldn't be opened, but whoever was on the other side was persistent. "Why doesn't it want to open?" he could hear her say. "Come on, get lost, will you?" he murmured under his breath. Another voice, a male one he recognized, overpowered the girl's voice. "It's out of order, miss." "Who are you?" she asked. "I'm the plumber. I'm here to fix one of the toilets that flooded. From what I hear, it's pretty nasty. I'm not looking forward to doing this job," he could hear Odin say. "Oh, gross. I'm out of here," the girl whined. "Good riddance," Sebastian whispered. 4 Notch proceeded. It was their code at home to let each other know it was them at the door. He twisted the lock and opened the door. An out-of-service sign was taped on the door. Once Odin walked in and Sebastian hurried to close the door behind him, he asked, "You put that up?" Odin nodded. "When you told me where you were, I figured we needed it. So I got it work. The toilet there is always out of service." "Good thinking." Sebastian motioned with a wave and jerk of his hand. "Come on, she's over here." When they turned the corner and Odin saw Ariel on the floor, laying on her back, he blurted, "Geez, what the hell happened to her?" "Who is she?" Sebastian responded, "A friend of mine. She got a tattoo at Voodoo Tattoo." Odin's jaw dropped. "No way. Where's the tattoo?" "On her shoulder." Sebastian gently turned her on her right side. "Damn, it's bad," Odin remarked. Sebastian said as his stomach lurched, "It's gotten a lot worse since I called you." "Yeah, it's progressing super fast." Sebastian's heart sank. His brother confirmed what he most feared was happening. "We don't have enough time to get her back to our place. We have to start the process here now. Otherwise, it'll be too late, and what happened to Mom will happen to your friend."
Chapter 26. It was extremely soft to the touch. Ariel had never felt something so soothing. She rubbed her hand across the silk bed sheet and the plush pillow. She opened her eyes and stared at the fish swimming in an aquarium on a nightstand beside the bed. As the fog in her mind began to thin, she realized this wasn't her room. In fact, she didn't know whose room it was. "Where am I?" she asked in a weak voice, trying to sit up, but couldn't muster the strength to do it. That's when she saw Sebastian sleeping in an armchair next to the bed. She panicked. Ariel didn't know where she was. She couldn't recall how she got here. The last thing she remembered was talking to Sebastian in the girls' bathroom and showing him the infected tattoo. Everything else was a blank. Starting to pant, she cried, "Sebastian?" "He must know what happened," Ariel reasoned. He didn't respond, so she tried to speak louder. "Sebastian," her voice cracked. Her throat was parched and scratched. He jolted awake, blinking in disorientation until he saw her. He smiled and rubbed his eyes. "You're awake, that's good. How do you feel?" "Tired and weak," she groaned. He stood and walked over to her. He touched her forehead. His warm hand felt comforting. "Your fever is gone. Are you in pain?" he asked. "I'm sore, but have little pain." She wiggled her arm. Doing so before had sent unbearable agony through her whole body, but now it only throbbed with a dull pain. "That's great. Soon you'll be on the road to recovery," he said, holding her hand in his and staring into her eyes, smiling. "Where am I?" she asked before swallowing, which scratched her throat further. He looked around and sighed. "My bedroom." Ariel widened her eyes. It resulted in stars floating around her vision. She began to hyperventilate.
Chapter 27. It had been touch and go for a while. Sebastian honestly didn't know if she'd make it. If it weren't for his level-headed brother who worked the best under the worst of circumstances and pressure, she would have never survived. Sebastian would be eternally grateful to him for saving her. He couldn't bear to lose her, too. She wasn't completely recovered, though. She'd need time to heal and gain her strength, but she was on the sure and safe path of recovery. Sebastian stared at her delicate, frightened face and wanted to hug her, thankful she was going to be all right. But that would probably freak her out. Instead, he'd have to calm her gradually. She had a million questions, he was sure. He'd try to answer all of them. In the process, it would be impossible to avoid telling her the truth about himself, Odin, and his mom. The revelation would most probably frighten her away. What had started to blossom between them would wither and die. But she deserved the truth. He should have known better and not gotten close to her. Guys like him didn't deserve happiness. He was meant to always be alone. He took a deep, bracing breath while he scanned the room, trying to find the courage to look her in the eyes. He was about to toss a pebble down a snow-covered mountain. The snowballing effect it would have had couldn't be stopped, at least not by him. He cleared his voice before saying, "The reason why you don't remember how you got here is because you passed out in the ladies' bathroom. I called my brother after it happened, and we brought you here." Just when the words slipped from his lips and the panic in her eyes turned to hysterics, he realized he'd made the situation a million times worse.